I am back today with another case that I've been itching to get into for quite some time. And I feel like every single person in the world knows about this case or has at least heard something about it. This is the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. Now, the details surrounding this case are absolutely heartbreaking. That evening, they ate dinner at a local Indian restaurant. They said they were only going to be gone for about an hour. One child slept in a single bed and the twins slept in a bunk bed. The restaurant had a children's play area and the McCanns could see their apartment from where they were seated. They immediately began searching the apartment and the surrounding areas for her, but she was nowhere to be found. They also informed the rest of the group that they were with at the restaurant, and they all began helping to look for her. As time passed and Madeleine was still not found, more and more people started helping with the search. They told the police the same story that they had told the restaurant owner and the other friends they were with. They said that the lead detective on the case, Inspector Olegaria Sousa Carvalho, had offered his condolences, embraced them, and told them that he would catch the person responsible for their daughter's disappearance. This was reported in the media and it made Detective Carvalho's boss very angry. Even though he never worked with the detective, the chief of the judicial police, Paulo Limoeiro, suspended him without pay and removed him from the investigation. There have been a lot of ups and downs and they have finally been awarded €500,000. However, Portugal refuses to pay and they are currently appealing that decision. This outraged the McCanns, so they began telling anyone who would listen that the police had not treated them fairly. They used the money raised to help locate their daughter and to help other missing kids. Was she kidnapped or did something else happen to her? What happened to her body? I don't think they were completely innocent, but I don't think they're completely guilty either. I think they made some really bad decisions that night, and they've been trying to cover up those mistakes ever since. But I'm just one person, and this is just my opinion. Who was responsible? Or do you think someone broke into their apartment and kidnapped her? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And most importantly, where is she now? They hired a British lawyer and a British private investigator to assist with their daughter's case, and they demanded answers from the Portuguese authorities. According to the police report, Kate and Jerry had consumed enough alcohol that night to make them lose their memory. Some of these sightings could not be confirmed, while others turned out to be false leads. Some people say the door was locked and some say it was unlocked. Some people say the McCanns were drinking and some say they weren't. Some people say they were good parents who would never do anything to hurt their children, and some say they were bad parents who left their kids alone all the time. For example, a woman named Isabella Serrano came forward and claimed that she had seen a girl resembling Madeleine on a beach in Morocco for months after she went missing. She said the girl was sunbathing alone and looked sad. Even though the girl matched Madeleine's description, she was 10 years older than she would have been. When Isabella brought the girl home, she told her that her name was Sarah and that her parents had died in a car accident. Eventually, it was determined that the girl was a runaway and she was sent back to her mother in Holland. Kate McCann broke down and confessed to leaving their daughter in the care of the teenage babysitter and that they had followed the proper protocol of locking the balcony door and closing the mosquito net. He said he was pretty sure it was her, but he wasn't certain. Then in 2017, another man claimed to have seen her in India. And in 2019, a viewer of Crime Watch said she may have seen the girl in a restaurant in Lanzarote, which is an island near the coast of Africa. Gerald denied this, saying that they never left their kids alone and that the door would have been locked. Kate then admitted that the patio door was closed but not locked, but insisted that Madeleine could not have opened it because it was too heavy for her. She also denied that they had been drinking, which led the police to believe that the McCanns may have accidentally left their daughter behind while they went to the restaurant. Because of the lack of evidence, the police released the McCanns as suspects on July, stating that the investigation would continue. A year later, the McCanns were formally exonerated and their names were cleared by the Attorney General. He said that there was no concrete evidence that Kate or Jerry had committed a crime. He also said that the police had not properly searched the apartment and had failed to preserve crucial evidence. And even though they were no longer suspects, they were not happy with how they had been treated. But after further investigation, they learned that the McCanns had not been drinking heavily and there were no signs that Madeleine had been left behind on purpose. At midnight, there were roughly 40 adults and 10 cars combing the beach and the streets for any sign of the missing girl. At 9:15, Kate's husband, Jerry, came running to the apartment after hearing what had happened. They had been visiting Playa de Las for a week, and they often walked around the resort in the evenings with their children. However, even though they knew the area very well, Madeleine was nowhere to be found. He assisted in the search. They checked the neighboring apartments and nearby cars to see if she had wandered off somewhere, but they couldn't find her anywhere. Every 20 minutes or so, one of the parents would go back to the apartment to check on the kids. The last time someone checked was at 8:05 p.m. They didn't realize it at the time, but that would be the last time anyone saw Madeleine alive. They locked the balcony door but left the patio doors open because there was a mosquito net over the opening. It would be safe to say that the patio door acted as a makeshift second entrance to the apartment, which technically should have been locked according to the rules of the resort. However, the security guard on duty that night testified in court that he did not follow protocol and that he did not check whether the guests had locked their apartment doors that evening. Leaving their children in the care of an older teenage British girl who they had hired as a babysitter. In the past, they had asked this babysitter to look after the kids while they went out to dinner multiple times, and everything was fine. The McCanns had eaten at this restaurant many times before and the owner even knew them by name. According to the McCanns, the meal went well and nothing out of the ordinary happened. They were there for roughly 2 hours and then they went back to their apartment. So let's just jump right into it. She would have celebrated her 19th birthday last month. When Madeleine was 3 years old, she went on holiday with her family to the Algarve region of Portugal. On May 3, 2007, Madeleine and her family were staying at an apartment in Playa de Las, which is a resort town known for its beautiful beaches. Now, her family was there for a 2-week stay. Madeleine Anne-Marie McCann was born on May 12, 2003 in the United Kingdom. On May, Madeleine's parents, Kate and Jerry McCann, along with their 3 children, Madeleine, Amelia and Sean, arrived at the resort around 6 p.m. At about 7:30 p.m., the McCanns left their kids at the apartment while they went to dinner with 7 of their friends at a tapas restaurant called La Pagine. The McCanns stated that when they left, all 3 kids were sleeping. When the group arrived at the restaurant, they sat outside on the terrace. At 9 p.m., Kate McCann returned to the apartment alone. She went inside and discovered that Madeleine was missing. At 9:30, they called the police and told them their daughter was missing. It's worth noting that the McCanns were very familiar with the area. On May, after the police had been notified, the McCanns were questioned separately for 7 hours. This is where things start to get messy. After being cleared as suspects, the McCanns went to the media to tell their side of the story. A few days later, Kate and Jerry were questioned again, this time as formal suspects. This time, Detective Carvalho was present during the questioning. Because of these differing stories, the McCanns were kept separate during questioning. In July of 2008, the McCanns filed a £1 million lawsuit against the Portuguese police force for wrongful arrest. Since then, the McCanns have been trying to recover damages from the Portuguese government. After Madeleine disappeared, her parents set up a charity called Find Madeleine at the beginning of 2011. There are so many unanswered questions surrounding Madeleine's disappearance. After Madeleine disappeared, there were several people who came forward claiming that they had seen her after she went missing. Another strange sighting occurred in 2014 when a man came forward and said he had seen Madeleine in a bar in Thailand. One thing I've noticed when looking into this case is that there seems to be a lot of conflicting evidence. Personally, I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle. What do you think? Do you think Kate and Jerry left Madeleine on purpose? If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and come back soon for another true crime video. Thank you for watching.